welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be discussing Until I Meet My Husband by Ryousuke Nanasaki. Now before we get started, there will be spoilers, so if you don't want to be spoiled on this novel, this is specific to the novel. I've already reviewed the manga, but this one is for the novel. Then go ahead and click off now. No worries. I'll catch you next time. Now for those of you left behind, let's go over some content warnings. There may be references to homophobia, self-hatred, cheating, bullying, sexism, toxic masculinity, abuse, domestic violence, drug use, non-consensual porn, alcoholism, gender dysphoria, transphobia, suicidal ideation, pedophilia, toxic relationships, dubious consent, mental illness, and depression, as these things do appear in the novel. Now, if all that's okay with you, let's go ahead and get started. Now, as always, let's start with a quick synopsis. This is the story of Ryousuke Nanasaki. From the time he was small, he always knew he was different. Whether it was the way he spoke, the way he walked, or the things he enjoyed, he never could mesh with what the world expected him to be as a little boy. This only became all the more apparent when he began going to school and was incessantly bullied for being a, quote, girly boy. Whether it was by adults or his peers, he was always treated as an other, until he met Tsukasa. Of course, Tsukasa was Ryousuke's best friend, but more than that, he was his unrequited first love. This starts a journey of self-acceptance, self-love, and the journey for true love for Ryousuke Nanasaki. Ryousuke has never been what the world perceived as normal, but that would never stop him. He wants true happiness with the one he loves, and wants that for everyone, no matter who you choose to love. Now, I read this after the manga. This particular review will be exclusively for the novel version. I have read the manga as well because these two are very different, and I think it's essential to explore what both of them show in their respective mediums. I was really impressed by the way the author presented himself based on the manga because he was candid about himself and his experiences as a person, whether it put him in a bad light or not. I actually now think the manga was being very, very generous. Ryousuke is very honest, admitting to cheating, being cruel to his friends due to his own self-hatred, and so much more. He was a real asshole for much of the novel, but I like how he bears it all for us to judge. It really gives credit to his character and his ability as a narrator for his own story. Now, something that had been left out of the manga that was included in the novel was the section of his life where he dated Hiroki. Hiroki becomes addicted to drugs, and Ryousuke does everything he can to support him through his addiction and mental breakdowns. This arc of Ryousuke's life is probably some of the darkest over the course of his entire life. Ryousuke can only watch as the person he loves spirals out of control. It's punctuated poignantly with their breakup, which ends with a conversation where Hiroki hopelessly declares that Japan will never come around and that they will always be seen as freaks. This is toward the end of the novel, and to have that deep hopelessness right at the cusp of the end was terrifying. Then we get to the end when we see Ryousuke and Ryousuke-kun, his husband, married in a religious and symbolic ceremony. It was a beautiful turn against the future that Hiroki had assumed. From the pit of hopelessness to the peak of hope. A beautiful story beat indeed, and I wish we could have seen it in the manga. So, one of the key differences between the manga and the novel is how much more emotion and internal monologue we get from Ryousuke. This is to be expected, of course, as manga is a visual medium, so it would be near impossible to include every minute detail, but that makes the novel so much more charming. For example, there's a moment in the novel when he sees Takuma for the first time. He refers to him as Zoro, like from One Piece, until he learns his first name. I cackled. There's so many little quips and things like that scattered throughout that give the story so much more depth and help counteract the more negative moments we see of Ryousuke. It's a wonderful way to remind us that he is a real person and that this is a story about his real life. The best part about this, though, when compared to the manga, which does leave a lot out, was Ryousuke's pleas for equality, regardless of sexual orientation or gender. It was eye-opening to see how gay men were, and still are, neglected and persecuted in society. For example, after being punched by his partner, Ryousuke tried to call an abuse hotline only to be told they could do nothing for him since he was a man. There was also an instance where a police officer refused to assist after Ryousuke got his wallet stolen, claiming that because Ryousuke and the culprit were gay, they might waste man-hours hunting the culprit down, only for Ryousuke to drop the charges because they fall in love with each other, as if any gay man is going to be attracted to every other gay man. It's a disgusting view into the ignorance and neglect Ryousuke has faced being out and proud in society. With all that being said, this is an honest account of a real person on their journey of self-acceptance. This provides a view into the life of a gay man with stark and often painful clarity. The manga is heartrending, but the novel goes so much deeper. It really hones in on the gay experience for himself and his partners. While the manga focused almost solely on Ryousuke and barely scratched the surface of the homophobia and discrimination Ryousuke faced, that's not to say this is the whole picture, as this is only one person's view, but it is powerful. I highly recommend the story to anyone, though not without warning. You must get through the rain to see the rainbow on the other side. So, have you read Until I Meet My Husband? If so, what do you think? Do you agree with my assessment? Do you not? Let me know and comment below. Otherwise, I'll catch you next time. Bye!